blanket ban, I'm not so sure.
When I was 13, if someone said you're not allowed to go on social media anymore, I would have just told the app that I'm like 18.
Bans detect the symptoms rather than the actual root cause.
The UK government has begun consulting on a possible Australian-style ban on social media for under 16s, citing rising concerns about mental health, online abuse and harmful content. Technology Secretary Liz Kendall has said the consultation would move quickly, with conclusions due by this summer.
So today I can tell the House we will bring forward a swift 3-month consultation on further measures to keep children safe online. This will include the option of banning social media for children under 16.
The move follows reports that Grok, the AI tool on Elon Musk's platform X, has been used to generate non-consensual sexual images and videos of women and children. Some argue that parents are being placed in an impossible position when it comes to protecting their children from online harms. But what do young people think about the proposed ban? The Independent visited FlipGen's The Table, a youth-led discussion on online safety involving Ofcom, charities and social media companies, to hear young people's views.
Young people aren't involved in these conversations and it's about them, and the people that are talking about this and are deciding about this aren't.
I think a lot of adults don't understand because they grew up in a different generation that most children stay connected with their friends through their phones. Like, without my phone, I'll probably forget like who half my friends are.
If you want young people to comply, you have to listen to the actual issues that they're facing and legislate according to what they need.
I've actually had leukemia for 3 years, so I actually finished my treatment a few months ago. So I've just been, during the whole kind of process, I felt kind of incredibly isolated and just on my own, spending a lot of time at home and connecting with friends and people from the outside world through social media has helped me so much. I think I would have felt so alone and it would have been so much harder on me without social media.
I live in a rural area and like nobody around me has like talked about OCD really. So social media was the only way that I could kind of get an understanding of these things that I'm feeling aren't an issue with me. This is an actual thing. Which kind of changed my life.
Under 16s are really, really important. But what about when you turn 16? You're then just left in a minefield, like a digital space rife with harm.
Often on Instagram and TikTok and all these other social medias, you'll see a warning before you see the video. It'll say, may contain graphic content, may contain nudity. My message is, if the tech companies have this technology to detect it, surely they have the technology to remove it as well.
I think the best way is to like find a mid-ground where you're like discussing with children what they think could be harmful content and making children aware of what is harmful content for them.
The digital world is much, much younger than the real world. There is still time to make it safe by design rather than trying to like firefight.
Children's safety groups, experts and bereaved families have released a joint statement urging the government to rethink the proposal, signed by organisations including the NSPCC, ChildNet and the Molly Rose Foundation. They argue the ban is a blunt response that fails to hold tech companies and governments to account, warning it could shift risks elsewhere online and create a dangerous cliff edge for 16-year-olds entering high-risk platforms. They also stress that some children, particularly LGBTQ+ and neurodiverse young people, use these platforms for connection, identity and support. Instead, they call for social media companies to enforce strict risk-based age limits and block features that pose risks to younger users.
We understand completely parents, children's, families, massive worries about the online world. It's scary, lots is happening. And we think a really complex problem needs more than a blanket, blunt solution. So that's why we're instead calling for a risk-based approach to the setting of minimum age limits. So that's really calling for us to look at the evidence on each platform, not just a handful of a few social media sites, as is the case in Australia, but look at online gaming as well, private messaging spaces, to make sure that harms can't migrate to new spaces and children are protected now and in the future.
I mean, I visited a school recently and the kids just told me, in the Midlands, and the kids just told me they haven't had school for 2 years on a Friday. No teachers, can't keep the lights on. This story hasn't even made the press. And what I spoke to a girl for the piece in this, and what lots of them doing is substituting learning. Genuinely using like YouTube, TikTok, TED Talks, podcasts, all kinds of things.
From my own personal point of view, I'm queer and grew up in a very rural area. So even from my own experience, being able to use social media to sort of discover my own self-identity was really important.
What social media has kind of done, because of its kind of sprawling and multifaceted nature, has kind of upended the traditional hierarchies of popularity. And via sort of parasocial communities and online communities, young people have found two things. Number one, a sense of community and identity online. You know, really good example, your example, a complete acceptance and celebration of queerness, or all kinds of identities, which has obviously raised up and really promoted confidence. But the second thing is that's not just online. What I sort of found in that piece is people were finding these online communities and parlaying that into actual friendships and connections at schools. If you would take that away, I think it's the more marginalised young people that would suffer most, and I think that's a real shame.
By contrast, 61 backbench Labour MPs have backed a blanket ban for under-16s in a letter that has also won the support of actor Hugh Grant.
They point at the correlation between screen time and depression rates among young people and claim 78% of Gen Z say they would try to delay their child using social media for as long as possible.
The proposal has the backing of the House of Lords and will now be considered by MPs in the Commons. Whether it will be implemented to the same extent as in Australia remains unclear. Regardless, it is vital that young people are not excluded from the debate.